Hello everyone, welcome to Galaxy Crafts. I am going to be using a different resin, new resin today, to me anyway. I think it's Shabibi. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it is a food safe that I found on Amazon. So I'm hoping to use this. Well, I'm going to use this, not hoping. Graduation is coming. My daughter is graduating high school this year. She is supposed to be valedictorian. That's a long story. I'm not going into that, but I am so proud of her. And so I am making this. It's a CONGRAT'S GRAD sign with a base. And the reason I'm using the food safe is because I'm hoping to use it as a cake topper. So, of course, precautions will be taken. If I need to, I can put saran wrap around the base before I put it on. My other thought also is, hold on, I'll be right back and grab them. Depending on the cake and the decoration of the cake, I may, instead of going with the base, just use this and then attach clear popsicle sticks, whatever you want to call them, to the back of it. Afterwards, I'd, attach them with some kind of, probably a clear coat of the food safe resin. And then that way I can just put a thin layer of saran wrap around it and then stick it down in the cake so it stands up. But we'll see. So these, I'm going to move back out of my way so I don't get them around the resin. And so her school colors are purple, white, and black. White is boring. Her invitations have silver on them as well, so I'm going to use my Power to the Purple because it's about the right color of purple. And instead of white, flip these over so I don't get this all over it, I'm going to use this Silver Pearl from Marblers. Try that out. And then it's just a Marblers True Black. It's just black mica powder. I might put some glitter in this, but it's shimmery anyways since it's a mica. And sorry, the dog just barks at everything. So I'm going to use that and basically marble it in this. And then the base portion, I think I'm going to pour it clear and put some of these in it that I found. And they've got stars, but it's got the CONGRAT'S GRAD and a little silver diploma. And I think, yes. And it's got the cap with the tassel on it. So we're going to try that and see how that comes out. And I may or may not change my mind along the way. We'll see. But that is my original plan. I was going to put that in here, put the clear in, and then color this. And I've got extras if I have leftovers, because there's some other things that I kind of want to do, but I'm going to try to do those a separate video if can be. So we'll see. If I have leftovers, we'll do, or extras, we'll do, if I have leftovers, we'll do extras. Sorry, my brain isn't functioning this morning. All right, I'm going to get this resin mixed up. I'm probably going to do, I'm just estimating because I don't measure my molds, I just estimate it. I'm going to say at least 8 ounces probably So I think I'll do the 8 ounces, and I'll hope that will be enough, but if it's not, I'll mix up more. And like I said, if there's extra, I'll make extras. So I'm going to get that mixed up. I'm going to pause you while I do that, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm jumping back in here a little bit, just to give you my thoughts on this, because it is a new resin to me. It's a cheaper resin. I did read the description. It did say it is, you know, food grade resin. I used my mixer, but there's lots of bubbles, and I don't know if it's the temperature, because I know when it's colder it gets more bubbles in it, but it's fairly decently warm now because we are coming into spring. It's probably, you know, it's warmer than I usually do resin, or at least have been in the past. It mixes good. Yes, I've got a little purple in here because I used the wrong cup, and I was hoping against hope that the black will absorb the little bit of purple. I didn't want to waste a cup if I didn't have to. And if there's a little purple mixed in with the black, who cares? So, but that's the black. And I'm going to run this through my bubble remover on these. So, and then that's the silver pearl that I'm mixing. And I did use the trick that some people have mentioned and that Michelle's been doing over on Glitz and Glitter. I dissolved it in the alcohol before I poured this in here. I wasn't going to come back and show you the mixing part, but with all the bubbles and the odor, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. It does have a strange, different smell to it. The Let's resin does not have near as potent of an odor. It's not so overpowering I can't handle it, but it does have an odor, and I can't place it because it smells like something familiar to me, but I just can't place what it smells like. But it doesn't smell like your typical resin, which is kind of odd. So, but that is gorgeous silver. So, anyway, silver, I'm hoping I have room for all 4 of these in here at the same time, and my purple. So, oh, that is so gorgeous. I love that purple. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run this through the bubble remover, and then I will be back when that's done. Alright, I'll see you in a bit. I just realized I should have been recording this, but I wasn't. So while this is finishing up in the remover, I just went ahead and placed some of the confetti, and you want to make sure that, because I'm probably going to have this as the bottom side is the top, so you want to make sure you put it upside down so that when you turn it over you can read it properly. And I know all this is going to shift once I start putting the resin in it, but that's okay. And then I also decided to add in some of this. It's just little holographic stars. I got them from Michael's. I thought that'd be cute in there too, because they're silvery, gives a little bit of extra. In there, just to kind of fill in some of the spots, because I didn't want to put it all super clustered, but also it'll help hide the bubbles a little bit, hopefully, because I am not very good at getting bubbles out of my resin when it's clear. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, and I'll add more if I need to, or whatnot needs to happen, whatever needs to happen. So, all right. So since that went off, I'm gonna go ahead and get those out of my way. And pull this and get it out of my way. Make sure I don't have any resin on the bottom of it before I set it on my floor. Okay, so it's really clear down here, and then of course all the bubbles are at the top, but I just take a lighter and kind of go around it, get some of the surface bubbles off, and I'll let those start coming back out from the rest of it. Unplugged out of my way. Maybe, there it goes. Sorry, I was just moving that so I don't knock it over. Okay. Now I'm going to spray it with a little alcohol. That'll help disperse it better. Hi, Sabrina. I know you guys want tons of attention, but I don't have attention. I'm busy. Yes, hi. Go play. Just don't bark your head off at the neighbors, because she's notorious for that. All right. So, we got that. We got this. I'm thinking. See if I can pour a little bit of the bubbly stuff off to get most of the bubbles out of that, so that way it's more, oh come on, really, there. And yes, I know I have stuff in that, and I just sprayed it with alcohol, but that's the way it goes. So I'm going to pour this over the top. And I probably had about four, oh, I was afraid that was going to happen. The purple's bleeding. But that's okay. Alright, so that probably took about 3 ounces, I'm going to guesstimate, because I had about 4 ounces in this cup. So that's good to know. That's what I was looking for. Except no, I didn't. I had less than that, because, or more than that. I probably had about 6 ounces in this cup. So, and then I poured out maybe an ounce, ounce and a half. How much is in that? Yeah, about an ounce and a half. So I'm going to put this back in here. because I forgot that I just put all of it in this. This is probably, what is that, a 10-ounce cup maybe? So I probably had about 6 ounces in there. So it's probably, yeah, it's probably about 3 ounces. I don't know why I didn't think about the fact that I was probably going to be trying to measure these molds as I do them. I never do that. You would think I would, but I don't. So I'm going to let this do its thing, let the alcohol dissipate. And I am fine if all this stuff floats. I don't care. And these, I'm in debate whether I want to just let it, I don't want to add glue. Nope, I'm not going to add glue. Okay, so the majority of this, I want it to be purple. But I'm just going to go in between like this. And then I'm going to do that, and I want a little silver in the tassel too. I will say for this resin, it's not super thick. It is kind of thin. So I'm hoping that's going to be a good thing. I don't know. But it is nice for it to be thinner, so it goes into the smaller crevices and such. I don't think I want to dome this because one, my table's not super level. In fact, I can tell it's kind of swirling over that way. I have a leveling table. It's kind of buried at the moment. I keep doing videos and not getting them posted, and then for a while I haven't done anything. I'm sorry about that. It's been a long, well, life has been complicated. Let's put it that way. Before, I was taking care of my mother for the last 9 years. And then almost 9 years to the day, back in October, the end of October, she passed away. And since then, I've been kind of on a stint of trying to go through and get her stuff gone through and divvied up amongst me and my brothers, which my brothers don't want anything, so it's really just me packing everything into boxes that I don't want and putting it in storage. Now I'm trying to get rid of the furniture so that I can redo the floors in her bedroom because they're really bad. And then I'm going to move into her bedroom because it's the master bedroom of the house after I do that. And then I'm going to redo the floors in my bedroom, and because while we were at the funeral, I left my nephew to watch my dogs and one of my brother's dogs at my house, and he didn't watch them properly, and they tore the living daylights out of my linoleum. Thank goodness my floor in my bedroom is linoleum. And a nice chunk out of my wall because they were trying to get out because those dogs have separation anxiety. And yes, I did give him that information, and yes, I did tell him he needed to stay at the house, and he did not do that. So they ended up chewing up my floor and my wall trying to dig out of my room. Because if we leave them loose in the house, they'll tear everything else up. So to minimize damage as much as possible, bedroom was the best option. But unfortunately, he just didn't pay attention and stay with them like he needed to. And I don't know if I want to go around the sides on this or not. Seems like every time I do that, I end up with more bubbles than not, but we'll see. And even though I would like it to be completely bubble-free, I know it's not going to be because that just never happens. At least not in my projects. And with this, I don't want to fill it with UV resin or anything like that because I don't want to take away from the food safety of it. So there's that. There's some bubbles. I'll go along the edge of this. Since it's clear, I can see. I mean, there's a bunch of... You can't tell if they're bubbles or stars stuck to the sides of some of this. So, like I said, this stuff is floating. I expected it to, and I don't care because it gives it kind of a 3D thing. But I do want to push these down a little bit so that I can pop bubbles. So, I'm going to hope that the alcohol is dissipated enough. So it doesn't catch fire. Okay, I don't want to do too much more because it's probably going to burn the resin. And here you can see all these little tiny bubbles are coming up. So, yeah. We may just have bubbles. And if I have bubbles, I don't care so much, but... chances are this isn't going to be seen much anyways, and if I have time and can do it, because she doesn't know I'm doing this, so if I have time and I can do it without her knowledge, I'm going to maybe put like her name and the year or something on this part with my Cricut, which I bought last year with tax return money and have not used. So I was like, why did I waste my money on it if I'm not going to use it? But it's just, again, because life happens. And so I'm hoping that right now I can start getting into doing more of this as time goes on. Now, my leftovers. I've got quite a bit of clear, so that's good. And then I've got some purple and the black and the silver. So, I think I'm going to scooch this up out of the way. Soak that resin in. And yes, I know this pad was kind of dirty to begin with, but I didn't want to waste the pads because things cost money. So we're just going to scooch that up there out of the way. And I think with the clear I'm going to use for a thing I'm doing. I want to try this little mold out. It's little odd-shaped beads. And I got it most likely on Temu. But I only got one because I wanted to try it first. So I think I'm going to try that with the purples and the silvers and stuff like that. In fact, I think I'm going to use a pipette because these are really small. Oh, Tawny, what are you whining about? Well, go outside. You want to go outside? Sorry, yes, I talk to my dogs all the time. Mostly because my dogs and my teenager are the only things I have to talk to right around now. So. And these will undoubtedly come out with bubbles everywhere in them because that's just the nature of bead molds, unfortunately. Tawny, why are you whining? Are you whining because you want Sabrina's bone? I gave them rawhides hoping that would satisfy them for a while, and I don't know that it is. Because Tawny tends to chew them up really quick, go through them really quick. And my other Sabrina, the little one, kind of just goes with the flow and chews on it as she wants and takes her time. And then, of course, Tawny sits there and whines because she's already eaten through hers and wants more. So she thinks I'm going to give her the other one. And I'm not. I am bittersweet about her graduating, my daughter, because that means she's grown up. But I'm also glad that she is not going to be at her school anymore. Because with the way things happened, but if you don't want to hear the story and hear me complain, you can always just mute me. But essentially what happened is she's been top of her class, 4.0, whole time. And so we were anticipating that she was going to be valedictorian, because her school, history about the school is it started as, it was a charter school. And then I sent her there because she has severe social anxiety issues, and COVID really messed that up. For her, because she also has sensitivity issues where she cannot tolerate anything on her face. So masks were not an option for her, because she would go into panic mode, and it was causing all sorts of problems. So from the time they shut the schools down until the mandates were lifted, which wasn't until she was basically starting high school, she didn't go to school. So from the end of 6th grade through 8th grade, she was homeschooled. And I was not going to homeschool her in high school because she needed to work on her socializing skills and whatnot. But she was absolutely adamant that she was not going to a regular high school because of just too many people. And yes, I know I'm the parent, and yes, I know she was refusing, and you can discredit my parenting skills all you want. I don't care. But unless you understand the entire full scope, and I am not going through her entire childhood, I will say that there is a high chance that she is on the spectrum of some sort. We cannot afford to get her tested. But because of all of her history with sensitivities to certain things and aversions to everything, and her panic issues, and I'm pretty sure that she is. She's extremely smart. She's way smarter than I am, that's for sure. Anyway, so we started her at the school. It was supposed to be a charter school. There's only, a couple hundred students max between all 4 grades, 9th through 12th. And she'd always been top of her class. Always. That was never not a thing, obviously. And, ooh, that's getting hot. Okay. So we just figured she was going to be valedictorian, because that made the most common sense. And so, to pause my story, I'm going to do this ivy leaf mold. And I'm going to use poison ivy. It's like a dark sage green color. So we're going to mix some of that. So anyway, we just figured it was a shoo-in, And there's only, to verify how small this school is, there's 18 students in her graduating class. So Anyway, we went, she went through school and went to the charter school, and wouldn't you know it, the director of the school basically ran it into the ground. So her junior year, I put way too much alcohol in that, but that's okay, it'll dissipate. So her junior year, the city school district came in and took over. Ooh, that is really hot. Oof. And this is mold release spray. This is a matte mold. And I have noticed with some matte molds, depending on the mold, if you spray it with the mold release, it'll help shine it up a little bit. So that's what I'm doing with that. Anyway, so they came in and said that, yes, there was going to be changes, but because of the juniors and seniors, there's going to be transitioning into those changes. So we didn't think anything of it. And my daughter is extremely logical. If there's a word, there's a definition for it, and by definition, that is what it should be. So the definition of a valedictorian is the student with the highest GPA. Well, apparently not. She gets called into the office, and he tells her that not only is she not valedictorian, she's not salutatorian either. And she was extremely disappointed. She didn't understand. And turns out it's because, she didn't take enough college credit courses. Excuse me, since when is that a thing? I'm sorry. When was this told to her? When was she given that information? Never. I think they did a meeting with the principal when they first took over, and it seemed like they might have mentioned something about it. But again, he also said there is going to be transitioning into that with the juniors and seniors because of the fact that they've already started all their stuff. And they were making all these changes, and they weren't going to have, apparently they didn't have access to all of their information from the first 2 years other than like their classes, what they took. So, anyway, I think the rest of this I'm going to put in here to finish this up because this is getting hot, and yeah, so, and I want to get this filled up because I need to make 2 of them, and of course I only have the 1 mold. So, anyway, they tell her basically, oh, you don't have enough college credits. Well, first of all, they didn't have her transcripts. This is stuff I found out after the fact, of course, after I went berserk. And yes, I posted to the county website and asked them, like, why is she not valedictorian? Why are you doing this? This is stupid. And didn't get a response from the district. However, he calls me in and we have this meeting, which is where I found a lot of this stuff out. And it's like, so nobody bothered in the 2 years that they'd taken over to sit her down and tell her that she needed to take more college classes. They suggested she take college classes. They didn't give her a reason for that. And between all of her, and even her teachers, some of them were like, yeah, I don't see, between her and one other student was, oh yeah, one, it would definitely be a shoo-in between the two of you as far as valedictorian. We're like, okay. Well, so obviously the teachers don't even know what's going on in that school. And I do not really want to do this clear, but it's too thick. So I guess it's going clear. So the fact that the teachers really don't have a clue what's going on either is disturbing. So, yeah. Anyway, so he proceeded to sit there and tell me and gang up with me with a guidance counselor and one of her teachers, that, because I threatened to pull her out. Because I was livid. I called the district before this meeting. And I said, and I called the district because I wanted to find out if I had to pull her and homeschool her for the last 2 months of school, if that was something doable. And I told them what was going on. I said, this is the situation. We have had friends from that school who have left and parents put them in homeschooling or a different school because of this principal. Because he does not engage with the kids at all. He does not help them with anything. He doesn't help the teachers with disciplining students. He doesn't, he just doesn't, it's just ridiculous. So, there's one teacher that is, wanting to quit because of the lack of help with disciplining the freshmen that are apparently really horrible. And there's just absolutely zero communication between the school and the teachers and the kids and whatever. Because we had an issue because the college class, because she took dual credit classes. The college class that she did take through the local college, community college, just, an example of the lack of communication with them was a joke, because they didn't tell her the class was starting. She didn't know, and she just got a notice from the guidance counselor that said, he said, oh, well, come talk to me because the college classes are started and you need to get signed in to it. It's like, why didn't you tell us they were started or when they were starting? Because all they did was tell her that, oh, it's starting soon before Christmas break. And I didn't think about it. And I said, okay. And I wasn't sure if their Christmas break was still the same as ours or when theirs was. So I didn't think anything of it. And this is not. So she goes back to school on Monday. Nobody said anything to her. He comes to her on Tuesday and says, oh, well, you need to come talk to me after school tomorrow because we need to get you started on that class. Okay. Well, the class started on that Monday. By the time she got the information, they got her signed up, and she got into the class, she already had missed assignments. She was 3 days late, and she panics over stuff like that because she worries about what that's going to make her look like, and she worries about her grades because the biggest reason is she was told that her college grades, the grades on the college class, could affect her high school GPA, which would in turn affect her chances at valedictorian. So she was freaking out. And because she'd already had missed assignments with 0 grade because she wasn't even logged in. So, I don't know why I just sprayed that with alcohol. I wanted to use heat on it. But anyway, that's too bad. So anyway, so then she went to them and said, well, I might as well drop the class because I'm already behind and I'm panicking and freaking out. And they said, oh, well, you have to pay us $75 if you drop the class. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So she stuck with it, and I spent a week and a half talking her through panic attacks and everything else regarding this class. And this one is just going to have to be, I think, broken off. So she got through it eventually, but again, there's such a lack of communication between the students and the staff and the teachers and what they need to do and what is expected that nobody knows what's going on. So when she gets told she's not valedictorian, he says, oh, well, that's your fault. And I said, excuse me? Yeah, well, we're designed to teach kids to prepare for college, so they're supposed to come to us and ask these questions and find this information out on their own. They're supposed to find this information out on their own. Not, he didn't say come and ask. He said they're supposed to find this information out on their own. It's in the handbook. Well, I'm sorry, what teenager have you ever known that's going to read a school handbook in high school? What parent reads the handbooks in high school unless they're looking for something specific? So, and second of all, you have a guidance counselor for a reason. They tell you what classes you need to take, what is to be expected, and everything else. Well, this didn't happen with anything since they took over. So they didn't tell her that they expected her to take college credit courses, which she did take college credit courses. She did take dual credit classes in the high school. She just didn't go and take them at the college itself, except for that one class, which she opted not to do anymore because of that past experience. Not having the correct information and everything else. And it stressed her out. So she opted not to sign up for any others. Well, they're apparently supposed to automatically know this information. And then on top of that, he says, well, they're supposed to bring us their transcripts from the college too. And I said, and when would she have known about that? And I was sitting here thinking, when would she have known to do that? And he says, but I decided that I'd be nice and go ahead and get them for you so that, you know, we could get that information, the unofficial transcript, so that we knew what she had. And, well, we do see that she does have enough college credits to put her as salutatorian. And I'm like, so in other words, you're turning this around to be her fault because she didn't have any of the information that you should have given her, under the guise that you're prepping her for college, which makes no sense to me. And then to shut me up, you're giving her second place, basically, when she should be top of her class and first place. And so it was just, it's a mess. And I was at the point where if I had to look at his smug attitude anymore and listen to them go on and on about how it's our fault that she didn't find this information out on her own, I really wanted to smack him. So I took what she got and I left. Because I am not good with confrontation. I am not good when it comes to emotions, especially when it comes to my child. And I'm not really great at keeping a level head when it comes to things that really tick me off. So that's what happened with that. So she should be valedictorian. She had the grades for it. She had everything that we were under the knowledge that she needed. The fact that they screwed everything up and didn't bother to properly direct the kids and whatnot is just outrageously asinine to me. But, you know, it is what it is. So I just don't have any faith in the public school systems at all anymore. I am so thankful that she is a senior and that she is smarter than anybody, including the teachers in that school. And she will do great without the title. She doesn't need it, but it's just kind of a punch in the gut that they tell her that, oh, you're not going to get either of this, even though you work to get all of your schooling done and everything else. And the only thing that stopped you is because you didn't take more college credits. And this other kid who has a lower GPA took all these college classes. Well, she didn't take the college classes because she was told it would affect her GPA. Well, and she was worried about them being too hard for that to happen. And I did try to tell her that she should take the classes, and I tried to get her to, but because of her anxieties, because of her social issues, because of everything else, I can't make her do anything she's not willing to do on her own. So it doesn't matter what I've done in the past. It doesn't matter anything else. That's just the way she is. And that's why part of it is because we think she is on the spectrum. So anyway, hopefully once this is done, we're over it. We're past it. As far as I'm concerned, she's a valedictorian. I know she's not on paper, but she is. She's my girl. She is the most brilliant person I know. Well, second most brilliant, because I've got a brother who's extremely smart as well. But that's neither here nor there. I'm proud of her. She's, you know, pushing through it. She's going day by day. And biggest reason I didn't push it further is because he's been known to retaliate against other students when parents push back. So, we're just like, you know what, let's just go, let's just get you through this and get you out of there. Then we'll worry about filing complaints and whatever we're going to do. So, because when I did talk to the district, they said, first of all, they never heard of anything being a requirement for valedictorian other than your GPA. And the gal I talked to also said she was unaware of any students from her school taking college courses because she's the one that makes the payments for those college courses. So there's something fishy else going on there, but that's neither here nor there. That I will address when I do file my complaint against him to the school district once graduation approaches and she is not at risk of being retaliated against by her principal. So anyways, I will quit that story. This is done, obviously. So I will be back when these are ready to demold. We'll see how these turn out. And then if they do turn out, I will maybe make a separate video on what I plan to do with these. And we'll go from there. All right, we'll see you later. Hey guys, I'm back. So it's actually been a few days. This didn't get done in time for before my daughter got home. So I've had it covered up and hiding because she couldn't see it. I've got a few minutes between her leaving for school and me going to work. So I thought I'd go ahead and take these out real quick and see how we did. So there's that piece. And they're upside down. No, they're not. So I definitely have some trimming to do because I did not dome these or fill them up all the way, which is totally fine. I didn't want to, but I'll trim that up when I get a chance. I don't think I have time right now, but it didn't do too bad. There must be, I don't know if that's stuff from in the mold. It looks like it is. It looks like the mold's not the greatest, so I'll probably top coat that. And I'll probably coat the back too with something. I might do, I don't know, maybe I'll coat it with like a really light purple color or something like that so that you can still see everything. Yeah, there's bubbles. I expected that. But I think it turned out kind of cute. Although I wish the purple had stayed purple instead of turning pink, but that's okay. So now, let's see how this one came out. My Sabrina's sitting over here squeaking her toys. Okay, so there's that. Oh, that's nice. I like that. There's obviously some bubbles and whatnot. I haven't decided what I want to do because there's the little stars and bubble, you know, the dots and stuff for the I can't think of the right word, little decoration stuff in there. I might fill those in. There's a bunch of bubbles, but that's fine. Like I said, it's for us. But yeah, it turned out pretty cool. So I'll probably use, I don't know, maybe I'll use white. That way I can use the same color on all of it and do some of these, but I may just leave it as well. I'm not sure yet. But the trickiest part is getting it officially made. And then it's supposed to go in like this. Oh, that fit really good. Nice. Sweet. Like, it fits tight enough. I won't have to glue it or anything because that's pretty secure. So that's good. So I might do a back coat with a purple, since the purple sequins turned to pink. And I may or may not decide to put her name and our graduation year on here. Still haven't decided that. I'll have to take measurements and look at that, but I'm pleased with how that turned out. I like that. So, alright, I have time. Let's see how these guys turned out. So, I made them a little shiny. That's fine. What I might do is make a couple more of them and do a top coat. And then, so they're shiny, and then remold them so I have shiny. But the thing is, what I'm going to do with these, I don't necessarily know that it needs to be shiny. So I'll ponder that. But it didn't turn out too bad. There is a little bit of a sheen to them. They're kind of like a semi-gloss instead of shiny, because you can definitely tell the difference between the back and the front, shiny-wise. But that's what the mold release does. Some of the matte molds, like, they'll be super matte, but if you put some mold release spray on them, it'll get them a little bit of a shine to them. So I think that'll work, and I'm sure that'll work for what I want to do it for. So I can start making those. And then just my little beads. We'll see how they turned out. That'll decide if I want to get another set of this mold. Oh, that's cute. It's the only thing I don't like about doing my own beads in these is because it does, like, drip down. So it does, even if I fill them all the way, it does retract or sink or whatnot. So you do have the edge on them, but those are otherwise they turned out pretty good. And if you just put, like, bead caps on them when you use them, it shouldn't be a problem if you use them for jewelry making and such. So cute. Those are basically, I think, the same shape. They're just smaller, which is good. Oh, those are cute. And these are a really good size for jewelry because these are real small. They're not super big, so they'd be small for more delicate stuff. There's a bubble there, but that's up at the top, so if I sand that down or whatnot a little bit, it'll be fine. Oh, cute. I like these. I think I will, if I can remember where I got it from. I'm sure it was either Temu or Shein or something like that. Or Shein, or however you pronounce that one. I think I'll get another one of these so I have a duplicate mold so that I can make more than just 2 at a time of these. That's pretty. I like that. Oh, and these are just cute little round ones. Cute. I'm going kind of fast here, guys, because I got to leave in like 4 minutes to go to work. Ooh, I like that shape. That's cool. They kind of look like little, just irregular stones, and that was the whole purpose of this mold. It was an irregular shaped bead mold. So, because sometimes you don't want just perfectly round stuff. This one is basic. It's just a little tiny square. So, but that's okay. I mean, I've got square molds, but I don't know if the ones I have are this small, so that'll be a good thing to that. One of these days I need to actually use all these beads that I make, because I've got like a whole bunch of them. But, you know, you'd think I'd use them for, you know, actually making stuff, and I haven't yet. I'm great at doing this part and actually putting together and making things out of things. Not so great. I need to get better at that. But I'm hoping when the house, quote-unquote, renovations are done and I have more space and better room to keep things better organized, that I can do that better. Ooh. I'm just playing around now. Okay, so that is that. I will try to find time to get pictures before I can get this posted. It's probably going to be a while because we're coming up on Mother's Day weekend here in the U.S., and I don't know when I'll have time to really finalize this, unless, you know, I can get her out of the house for a little while to be able to do that. So, for now, I'm going to leave this here, and I'm going to cover it back up so she doesn't see it, because I don't have time to put it all away because I got to leave. So, there is that. And if I do more to these, I will bring you back for that. If not, I will get things put together and get you pictures, and we'll go from there. So, I'll see you after a bit. Thanks.